Start with silence. Let God speak before the world does. In a world that constantly demands our attention, silence has become a rare luxury. We wake up and immediately reach for our phones. The buzz of notifications, the flood of messages, the pressure to perform, all of it rushes in before we've even had the chance to hear our own breath, let alone the still voice of God. But what if we started differently? What if, before we allowed the noise of the world to define us, we stepped into silence and let God define our day? Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. It is in silence that clarity is born. It is in silence that we remember who we are and, more importantly, who we are becoming. Imagine beginning each morning not in chaos, but in calm, not in anxiety, but in awareness, not reacting, but receiving. Think of the most powerful natural moments: the sunrise, the flow of a river, the movement of stars. They all operate in silence, and yet they hold more power and consistency than anything man-made. The same principle applies to us. The most meaningful change starts quietly, in the still moments when no one is watching, when there are no likes, no feedback, no noise, just you, your breath, and the presence of the one who made you. Have you ever noticed how a deep breath can slow down your entire system? How 5 minutes of stillness can shift your entire mood? That's not a coincidence. It's a spiritual principle. When you pause before you perform, you align before you act. That alignment sets the tone for everything that follows. You don't need an hour. You need intention. You don't need to retreat to the mountains. You need to retreat into yourself for just a few moments every morning. Let's take a daily life example. Think of a surgeon. Before the surgery begins, everything is still. The tools are laid out. The room is silent. The team is focused. Why? Because precision demands peace. Noise would be fatal. Likewise, our lives require a level of clarity that only comes from stillness. If we start our days scattered, we move through life reacting. But when we start with silence, we lead ourselves with purpose. Or consider an athlete. Before a race, a runner doesn't just jump onto the track and sprint. They stretch, they breathe, they focus. That pre-race silence is not wasted time. It's the preparation that ensures performance. So why do we think we can skip that step in our own lives? Why do we think we can run into our day without aligning our mind and spirit? Now think of a parent who wakes up 15 minutes earlier than their kids, not to scroll through their phone, but to sit in silence, maybe with a cup of tea, maybe just breathing. Those 15 minutes can shift how they respond to their children all day long. It's the difference between yelling and listening, between reacting and responding, between exhaustion and intentional love. That's the power of a quiet start. When you sit in silence each morning, even briefly, you're creating space for divine instruction. You're saying to God, before I start chasing the world's agenda, I want to hear yours. That space becomes sacred. It becomes your anchor. It becomes the foundation for peace in a chaotic world. This isn't about religion. It's about rhythm. Life has a natural rhythm, and silence is the heartbeat of it. It's where we hear guidance. It's where we release yesterday. It's where we align with what really matters. Without it, we carry yesterday's weight into today's battle. But with it, we step into our day with clarity, direction, and a sense of grounded purpose. And the truth is, silence is available to everyone. You don't need fancy tools. You don't need a special app. All you need is willingness. Willingness to pause. Willingness to breathe. Willingness to be still. That's your 1% improvement. Not a massive transformation, not a radical overhaul. Just a sacred pause before you start. Every morning that you give yourself those 5 silent minutes, you are practicing self-respect. You are declaring to your inner world that it matters more than the outer world. You are giving space for wisdom to rise, for fear to fall, and for divine instruction to guide you. Let silence be your sanctuary. Let it become the first step in your morning routine. Let it be the space where you gather yourself before you give yourself to the world. Because when you start your day in silence, you don't just improve your morning, you reshape your entire life. 1% at a time, 1 moment at a time, 1 breath at a time. And that's all you need. Speak into your day. Use your voice to set your path. Your words are not just sounds passing through the air. They are seeds. And every single morning, you are planting something with your mouth. Whether you realize it or not, you are programming your mind, shaping your energy, and directing your steps with the very first words you speak. That's why it's not just important, it's essential to speak into your day before your day speaks into you. Most people wake up and immediately let life take control. They stumble out of bed and say things like, "Oh, I'm tired," or "Today is going to be rough," or "I don't want to do this." And without knowing it, they've already given the day permission to be difficult. They've unconsciously told their body to be drained. They've sent a message to their mind that life is something to survive, not something to shape. But what if you flipped that? What if, instead of surrendering to circumstance, you stepped into command? That's the power of speaking into your day. Not as a ritual, not as wishful thinking, but as a conscious act of self-leadership, aligning your voice with the life you want to live. Imagine standing in front of a mirror each morning, not to check how you look, but to check how you sound. Imagine looking into your own eyes and saying, "Today I choose strength, I choose focus, I choose peace. I will lead with love. I will finish what I start. I am growing even when it's hard." That may sound simple, but it's not small. That is you stepping into authority over your life. That is you rewriting your internal script before the world hands you one. Let's take a simple, relatable example. A student who has a test or a challenging subject ahead. Most students walk into the day already defeated. "I'm terrible at math. I always mess this part up. I hope I don't embarrass myself." Those words build anxiety and shut down creativity. But another student, just as human, just as flawed, might start their day differently. "I may not know everything, but I'm getting better. I'm focused today. I'm improving. I've prepared, and I trust myself." That inner conversation transforms pressure into progress. It allows the mind to work with you instead of against you. Or consider someone who has to lead a meeting, make a sales pitch, or step into an important conversation. They could say, I'm nervous. I always mess this up. No one listens to me. That becomes their reality. Or they could say, I speak with clarity. I am prepared. My presence has value. I will make an impact. That declaration becomes their energy. And people don't just respond to words. They respond to energy. When you speak confidence, people feel it. When you speak purpose, you show up differently. This principle isn't reserved for public speakers or performers. It applies to the parent waking up early to make breakfast, the driver navigating traffic, the employee starting their shift, the business owner facing another day of hustle. Every single one of us has the power to design the atmosphere around us with our words. And let's be clear, this isn't fake positivity. This isn't about ignoring your problems. It's about intentionally choosing your posture toward those problems. It's about speaking strength before you feel it, speaking peace before you see it, speaking direction before it's clear. Because your words are like a steering wheel. Where you turn them, your mind and body will eventually follow. Even when you don't feel strong, say it, I am strong. Even when you don't feel ready, say it, I am prepared for what today brings. Even when you feel overwhelmed, declare it, I will breathe. I will not rush. I will move through this moment with grace. These words are not lies. They are lighthouses, guiding you through fog. They are reminders of who you are capable of being. And over time, this 1% shift, this consistent morning habit of speaking into your day, compounds into transformation. You become someone who leads yourself, not someone who is led by emotion. You begin to walk with a quiet confidence. You don't panic when the unexpected happens, because you already told your soul, I am grounded, I am flexible, I am favored. So speak as if your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Speak with boldness. Speak with clarity. Speak like someone who knows they are connected to divine purpose. Speak life into your day, into your goals, into your relationships, into your vision. Because if you don't direct your day, the world will. And it rarely leads you where your soul was meant to go. You don't have to control everything to lead your life well. But you do have to control your voice. That's your power. That's your 1%. And that's more than enough to shift everything. Your body is not just a machine, it's a message. It speaks to the world even before you say a word. It tells people whether you value life, energy, and discipline. It reflects how much you honor the breath that was gifted to you, the heartbeat that never asked for permission to keep beating through the night. And yet, so many people wake up and treat their bodies like a burden instead of a blessing. They drag it out of bed, stuff it with food that brings no fuel, sit for hours without motion, and then wonder why life feels heavy. But the truth is simple. When you move your body, you shift your entire spirit. It doesn't matter whether you're an athlete or an artist, a teacher or a truck driver. Your body is the vessel that carries your purpose. If your mind is the engine, your body is the wheels. You can dream all you want, plan all you want, speak all you want. But if your body is too sluggish, tired, or stiff to carry out your vision, then you've lost before you even began. That's why moving your body even just 1% each morning, isn't about fitness. It's about focus. It's about presence. It's about preparation. Let's start with something simple. Imagine waking up and stretching for 5 minutes. Nothing extreme, just you, your breath, and slow, intentional movement. As your muscles awaken, your blood starts to flow, your joints unlock, your brain receives more oxygen. You feel lighter, not just physically, but emotionally. That's the body saying, "Thank you, I'm ready." That's the spirit whispering, "Let's go." Or think about someone who takes a brisk walk in the morning. No gym membership, no fancy equipment. Just steps, just air, just motion. That simple habit resets the nervous system. It lowers stress. It sharpens focus. It invites gratitude. Because as you move, you begin to notice the sky, the trees, the rhythm of your own breath. You don't just enter your day, you arrive. Even something as small as dancing for a few minutes to your favorite song, or doing a few push-ups, or practicing deep breathing with arm movement can rewire your state. It tells your entire being, "I am awake. I am here. I am participating in this gift called life." And that tiny decision, just to move, is often the difference between a sluggish day and a productive one. Now let's look at the other side. Have you ever stayed in bed too long, scrolling your phone, not moving for the first hour of the day? What happens? You feel groggy, foggy, behind, heavy. That's not a coincidence. That's your body and mind begging for activation. Without motion, your inner power remains dormant. But with motion, that power wakes up. One of the most inspiring examples of this is seen in the lives of elders who maintain vibrant energy well into their 70s, 80s, even 90s, not because they have secret genetics, but because they move, they walk, they stretch, they engage. They understand that movement is not punishment. It's permission. Permission to thrive. Permission to live longer. Permission to experience the day with clarity and strength. You don't need to run marathons. You don't need to lift heavy weights. You just need to move with intention. Because the body that you treat with love and discipline in the morning will carry you with resilience through the rest of the day. It's not about having the perfect shape. It's about having the energy to show up for your purpose, your family, your dreams. Your body is a living temple, not a random object, not an afterthought. A temple, something sacred, something divine, something worth honoring. When you move your body, you're not just burning calories. You're showing gratitude for the very life force flowing through you. You're respecting the vessel that holds your potential. And there's more. When you move your body, you elevate your mood. Science backs it. Movement releases endorphins, those natural feel good chemicals that lift your emotional state. That's why people who start their day with motion often handle stress better. They think more clearly. They connect more deeply. They live more fully. So ask yourself, what kind of energy do you want to bring into your day? Do you want to carry the weight of stiffness, stress, and fatigue? Or do you want to step into your morning with lightness, power, and clarity? The choice is simple. The shift is small, but the impact is massive. Honor the temple. Wake up and move. Not because you have to, but because you get to. Move because it tells the world, I am alive. Move because it unlocks your creativity. Move because it sharpens your focus. Move because you deserve to feel good in the skin you're in. Move because motion is life. And remember, it only takes 1%. You're not trying to transform overnight. You're just choosing progress over stagnation. One stretch, one breath, one step. And that, done consistently, becomes the difference between simply existing and truly living. Your body is not just a machine. It's a message. It speaks to the world even before you say a word. It tells people whether you value life, energy, and discipline. It reflects how much you honor the breath that was gifted to you, the heartbeat that never asked for permission to keep beating through the night. And yet, so many people wake up and treat their bodies like a burden instead of a blessing. They drag it out of bed, stuff it with food that brings no fuel, sit for hours without motion, and then wonder why life feels heavy. But the truth is simple. When you move your body, you shift your entire spirit. It doesn't matter whether you're an athlete or an artist, a teacher or a truck driver. Your body is the vessel that carries your purpose. If your mind is the engine, your body is the wheels. You can dream all you want, plan all you want, speak all you want. But if your body is too sluggish, tired, or stiff to carry out your vision, then you've lost before you even began. That's why moving your body, even just 1% each morning, isn't about fitness. It's about focus. It's about presence. It's about preparation. Let's start with something simple. Imagine waking up